It's Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. Time for you to expect something wonderful.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. It's Mark Husson, and this is the Mark Husson Astrology Hour. It is 8 a.m. on the Pacific Coast, 11 a.m. on the East Coast, October 9th. Happy Indigenous People Day. How are you? I hope you're doing well. If this is your first time to the show, I hope you'll come join us in the chat. It's easy to get to. You basically just run over to 12radio.com, and that's where you can listen to us also as well and hit the listen now button. And or if you're on the app, get that app, 12radio.com app. It works now. It took us a couple of months to get the company to get this stuff together, but you can listen to us there, and also you can hit chat on 12radio.com. Come over to the chat room where you will see some amazing things going on, like my banner. You have to scroll down a little bit to get the banner. Jay put it up for me, my producer Jay. We just got to listen to Carolyn and Jay's Metaphysical Conversations. Nice name change to honor what they're doing together. I'm going to hit refresh here and see if my banner gets up to the top of the page. There it is. It is at the top of the page. And if you hit the comment section, you can join us in some comments. You will actually see some nice people in the room, like Catherine is in the house. Good day, Catherine Hickey. How are you? Quelly's here. It's Monday, new day, new week, new me. Lynn Goldberg, thank you for being here. It's always good to see you. She was a hot air balloon filled sky with Albuquerque, New Mexico. That hot air balloon event must be magical. I have seen pictures. I'm so glad you're back safe and that you had a good time. Now, we are in the thick of October. It's the 9th. I know. I get so tired of references talking about how quickly time is going, so I'll spare you the pain of it. But it is moving, isn't it? It's October 9th. It's October. I love October, I have to tell you. There's something magical about the 10th month of the year. It's a one numerologically. It feels like a new beginning after September, sort of ending energy. The leaves are turning. The weather is nearly perfect. Cold in the morning, so I get to snuggle up with the doggies, and then hot in the afternoon, so I get to just sort of do whatever I need to get done. So it's been fun. I'm liking this weather, as you can tell. So welcome. I hope you guys are. I hope you had a good weekend. There is so much going on astrologically, which is something that I say all the time because there's always something moving, right? I'm having a lot of fun though, because I'm doing deep dives into so many things. You know about Israel. I went and ran their chart to see what the heck it looked like, and it is really intense. I'm going to post it. I did post it on my Facebook page. I'm posting it right now in the chat room because some of you like to look. I mean, I know it's going to look like gibberish to a lot of you, but it is in the room now. Let me see. I think I have to write something. And there it is. Okay. So it's coming up. If you can make it to the room, scroll down a little, you'll see my post. And you'll see the chart of this country that just got invaded. They have a Libra rising. They're a Taurus sun sign. That's a very Venus country, right? So think about this. It's ruled by Venus because the ruler of that 9 o'clock position, the planet that rules your 9 o'clock position, your rising sign, they say rules the chart. Okay, they say, meaning it's just what we're taught in astrology, that's sort of a very important planet. So if you're a Scorpio rising, what's your important planet? Pluto. This is your rising sign now. This is the rising sign based on your time of birth. If you don't know your time of birth, it'll be the same as your sun sign. So if you're a Gemini rising, it's ruled by Mercury, right? You get it? So then you go to Mercury in the chart. Well, this country is ruled by Libra. And so you find Venus in the chart and see what's happening to Venus or with Venus in the sky. And Venus, and you look for it's the symbol of woman, like the circle with the cross under it. And if you look at transiting on the outside wheel, that's where the planets are today, you'll see Venus hit Mars that day to the degree, 2828. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know everything that's going on here, okay? I'm not even going to pretend to know. I'm not an Israeli expert. I have very dear Jewish friends, and I respect their pain, their horror, and I join them in that, right? Now, but when we're looking at a chart, you're looking at some of the events. Like, this is how we learn in astrology. And so if you see this chart, if you're able to see it, you're going to see Mars and Pluto on the outside. They're in purple arrows. I did them with purple arrows for you. And if you are using the email chart, they're red arrows, but I drew a line between them. I changed it at the last minute because I forgot to include Chiron, and I wanted Chiron in this chart. So Pluto and Mars are square. Those are like war planets, right? So some very important things. Another really important thing is Uranus up there at the, the 2 o'clock position you'll see is hitting the sun, 1 degree away from the sun. It's going retrograde. It's already hit once, so it's going to hit again. And that's sort of tearing down the structures. So there is a lot here. I'm not going to pretend to understand it fully. I haven't had a legitimate amount of time to study it. But I do see, if you yourself look, Mars is at 28, in their chart. Mars in the sky was at 27. Pluto's at 27. The rising sign of that day when it happened was at 28. So you'll see these themes. And I just want you to just sort of like let it just slowly uncover it for yourself. And like I said, I'm not going to pretend to go into this with you. It doesn't make for great entertainment. But it does show you when you're looking at a chart, if you're studying astrology, it does show you, gosh, like sometimes these events hit spot on. Now, I don't know that you could ever predict this event. Prediction is a weird thing in astrology, right? It's always hindsight in astrology. But if you see this enough and you know enough when somebody has a Mars square Pluto, which is happening in the world right now, in the world, we all have Mars square Pluto. We knew as a collective, there's an energy building. Astrologers knew something was up. Then they knew this was going to be a tense energy. But we live intensity all the time. Look at our own politics. Look at the crazy making that happens here. So nothing seems explosive anymore because it's explosive every day. So don't go to sleep. Don't get numb, but also don't get afraid. Just take a look at the transit. This is a transit. Mars square Pluto could have been an awakening of a different kind. It doesn't have to be with bombs. It doesn't have to be a war. It doesn't. And it sometimes isn't. In this case, we see that it was an explosion and it was an awakening, I think, of some kind. I think it's sort of like everybody sort of snaps out of it when these things happen, right? All right. So I wanted you to have that just because I think it's important from an astrological perspective for you to have information and for you to, if you want to learn, then this is a chance for you to learn. If you don't want to learn, you just want to sort of see what's going on. And I get that. That's up to the astrologers of your life. I'm happy to be that person too. So let me, so let's talk a little bit about let's lighten the energy up a little bit. This is a Leo moon. And so you have an opportunity in this moon to sort of feel brighter, see what it is in your life that brings you sunshine. See where you haven't been holding for yourself lately. Have you noticed that when the moon goes into Leo, it kind of becomes obvious for me, the people who aren't caring for themselves appropriately. And I include myself in that when I'm not doing that. But when you're looking around and I notice in the Leo moon energy, it's different than the Cancerian nurturing energy. That seems so much more gloomy when I'm a Cancer, so no offense, but it seems so much more gloomy when you hit in hindsight, when you go forward to the Leo moon and you're in this fire energy and you look around you and you see, like, okay, lift your head up and sort of like who's afraid. Now, Leos do great in that. If you run to a Leo, like when it's boring, everything, it's typically hard to get a Leo to get their attention off themselves. And it's kind of fun if you understand astrology. If you're with a Leo, just make the topic about them. It's fine. It makes it easier. But when something like this happens and you get afraid, Leo has a love in them, a way to bring it back to you, to make it safe. And I do love that about them. There's something so comforting about a Leo who knows you're not doing well. It's a different kind of nurturing than Cancer, like I said, but it's safe and it's wonderful when a Leo is doing that sort of, I'm going to take care of you here now. It feels so good. Just don't ever get addicted to it, because there's no guarantee that's going to hang around. And we'll talk about that. So that's the moon today. So if you're feeling like a little stronger today, or if you're missing some of that care for you energy, you'll be able to get it today. It's going to be easier for you. I've been doing a lot of reading about Chiron as well, and I am fascinated. I'm so fascinated by the brilliance that's out there. Not only Liz Green, who I love, but I'm reading a book by Dennis Elwell, Elwell, and he talks about the origins of Chiron when it was first discovered in 1977, and they had a hunch it was a comet and then an asteroid, and the guy who discovered it did some really amazing introspection with it. And these guys, when you get into the astrology club, you realize some of the great minds of the world were really taking astrology seriously. Unlike today, where everything can get poo-pooed, and everybody can poo-poo anything, like they have throughout the years. It's not new. What makes it new in our era now is social media. The volume of poo-pooing is so much greater, and it's so much more immediate that depending on what you're listening to, I have friends that I go, change your algorithm. You're just being inundated. Like, start watching other things so the algorithm will change for you. I stay off of TikTok for the most part. I stay out of Facebook, except when I'm posting banners to you. I want my world to not be, it isn't that I don't want my world manipulated. I don't want it manipulated, but there is a thing about, I know my addiction nature, and I know that if I get in there, I don't know that I'll ever come out. So I just stay out. And when I see some of the hatred and also some of the love, but when I see some of the just people just telling you not only their entire life, like I went to the supermarket, which it confounds me because I have so much Scorpio. It's like, I don't know that I want that out there. It's when I see the hatred spew, when I see the adamancy spew, that everybody knows what they're talking about and this is the law. And when we read things, we are programmed to believe them, I think, right? I think maybe that's changing. I don't know. But as I grew up, it was newspaper. Whenever it was printed, it was like they were sort of held to a standard. You better tell the truth and you better be as neutral as possible. Well, neutrality kind of flew out the door. In this generation, in this era, neutrality is just it doesn't matter anymore. What matters more is, I guess, your conviction, I guess being honest about your feelings, even if they're based in something not true. So it'll be so fascinating to go back at this time period from an astrological perspective and see where things went so crazy, because I never worry, because they bounce back. They come back. The pendulum always swings. It does. It may swing to varying degrees, and sometimes you're just convinced this is the worst it's ever been. And again, that's a feeling. I just learned a new word yesterday called headcanon, and I love it. A canon is like the truth, right? It's a canon. It's sort of like if somebody posts the storyline, their story, that's the canon. That's the story, the canon. The head canon is what we fill in. Like, oh, the motive, and oh, I'm seeing that this happened in the back. It's classic. It's wonderful. It's another big social media thing because people see a meme and they fill it in, like where the motive of that meme came from. Like it's so fascinating. I actually subscribe to a thing called I Don't Get It. Where somebody takes people like me and holds their hand through a meme or an image that just makes no sense. And then all of a sudden they make it make sense. And I've learned so much, and it helps me stay in touch a little bit with the pop culture. So that's kind of fun. But the headcanon here around Israel and around the Hamas and the Palestinians and the Gaza Strip, all that stuff. We have headcanon around it. We have beliefs. We know what's going on. We know motive. We know everything. And that was true for, especially during the Trump years. We did a lot of headcanon. We did a lot of I know. And, and a lot of it's being, proven. A lot of it's being disproven. But typically we talked about this confirmation bias, that we hold something to be true. And then we only hear things that sort of confirm that it is. Okay, we don't hear the things that confirm that it isn't. And I challenge you, each and every one of you, regardless of your affiliation with anything, I challenge you to stay open to letting go. If you read something that does not fit your bias or your the thing that you believe to be so true, that you follow that a little bit and see if maybe you might have skewed some information too far. Or if what you're reading is just a lie, and but be diligent in some of that stuff, because that's going to pay off for all of us, especially astrologically in this astrological time. I'm telling you, Pluto is going direct this week. Do you know the power of that? What that basically tells me is that Pluto is going back into Aquarius in January, and it's going to be there for like 9 months. I think we're going to love it. I think it's going to be so great to have it out of Capricorn. I'm so over Capricornian issues. I am. The government, the political BS, just all of it. But then it comes back one more time in September, maybe October. Comes back one more time. And it's going to give us some Aquarian ideologies. We're going to be more humanitarian. We're going to break some rules. We're going to see things above. And we'll see what Aquarius brings us. We're going to get a taste of it. And then it's going to, one last time, November, I think it is, it goes back into Capricorn for a very short period of time to finish up. And isn't that the election-ish time? So, Lord, it's going to be interesting. Okay. So, I'm finding that chart. I want to find the chart that I posted for you guys. Also, because there's a lot of like current stuff in it too. So remember that today is the Leo moon, right? And then as you move forward, we're going to hit the Virgo moon on Tuesday, and that's when Pluto moves forward that night. So Pluto's going to stop. You Scorpios, that's your ruling planet. If you're a Scorpio rising, that's your ruling planet. Tuesday might feel a little weird for you. That's okay. Because whenever a planet changes in some way, astrologically, and Pluto is going to freeze, sometimes it feels like your life freezes. Like there's a delay or something like that. So pay attention to that. But it goes forward on Tuesday. So we're going to see some, we're going to see some progress. Let's say that, right? Because anytime Pluto finishes up a sign, anytime any planet finishes up a sign, we see the conclusion typically, but it's not finished because it moves so slow for another year. But it is finished temporarily, which is really good. Wednesday, we go to a Virgo moon, and Mars is going to go into Scorpio. So Mars in Scorpio used to be ruled by Scorpio. I think it gets out of Libra, so this sort of push to keep everything fair and balanced and who's right and wrong and not really dig down below the surface, that's going to change. So we're going to get this push for truth, push maybe for vengeance. We're going to see where Mars and Scorpio takes us. If you have any fear about astrological trends, then you're kind of in denial of your own connection to it. Okay. It's not affecting you. It's a part of you. It's in you. This is you. So don't be afraid that something's happening from the outside. Pay attention to what you're evolving with on the inside. Okay. That's the part that I think is most important, is that you pay attention to know that these things are reflecting your psyche just as much as your psyche is reflecting the planetary changes. They're one and the same. So get out of this idea that it's influencing us. Even though I talk like that a lot, I know I do. I don't want you ever to forget, because I don't forget, that it is one and the same. What you're feeling is just being reflected by the planets. More than what the planets are doing is reflected in your feelings, right? It's one and the same. So if you're feeling angry, we can find that in your chart, but it wasn't the chart that created it. Okay. It's just you being a reflection of what's happening in the gestalt of everything. Okay. So Thursday, we're kind of like hanging out with just the moon getting ready to go into Virgo. The afternoon is kind of void of course all day. Friday, we get into Libra. Now that Libra moon, if you're like me in a Scorpio rising, that's my 12th house. That can be a sensitive time for me. So when the moon goes into Libra, I can kind of feel a little, ooh, or I can feel connected, like psychically or energetically. But typically when the moon hits your 12th house, whatever your rising is, it's the sign behind it. It can feel like that day can be like people are too much, right? And so pay attention to that, because we're getting ready for this big eclipse. And now this eclipse is a new moon. And the thing about this week, as we're going to a new moon, we're not just going to a new moon, we're going to a new moon eclipse. And so new moons, you remember, I know you do, are losing light. They're getting dimmer. Our hope gets a little like that sometimes, depending on how serious you take your world, depending on depending on your orientation. Okay. You could notice that things are just a little dimmer. Like I can't reach into hope as much. I don't have the optimism as much. I'm more serious. You might notice those things. You might notice that it's actually a bright time for you. Depending on your chart, new moons could just enliven you. But we're heading toward this new stamp of Libra at 21 degrees of the moon Saturday. And it's a new point in the chart that can represent a power point. It can represent a point that you might want to check in on what house it's in. Now, there are many astrologers who don't think eclipses do anything different, but this is, that's Javi saying hi. But this is one of those that you got to pay attention to, depending on what it does for you. Okay. Yeah, so then we hit the Scorpio moon next week. So my show next week will be under a Scorpio moon with you. I can't wait for that, because I like getting down real with you guys. Now I'm going to check your comments, and then let's lighten things up a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about what I'm learning, and we sort of bring some consciousness and awareness to the planets that are floating around. So I'm coming over back to the room, see how you all are. It's a holiday today, so things might be, importantly quiet. And let's see what's going on. I hope you guys are playing today, or I hope you don't have to go to work today, but I think a lot of you do. We do have some comments, so let me say hi. From Ellsworth. Well, Geraldine, good morning. I see you. Ellsworth, time is moving quickly. October is a fun month. It is moving quickly. Truly. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Idara's in the house. Long time no see. Good to see you, girl. I hope you're doing well. Terry, greetings to all. I love starting my week. Oh, thanks, Terry. That's so sweet. She likes starting with my show. Anita Ahuja. Good morning, Anita. Anita is like, do you all know Anita? She's a psychic over at 12listen.com, but she's also like amazing. She's been with us for a long time, but we've seen her go back into Maui after the fires. She's got this amazing support ability. She works with rape and domestic violence victims. She's been so well educated. She's an actor. She's a director. Anita, it's an honor to have you here, girl. Hope you're doing well. Jennifer's in the house. Jennifer, it's an honor to have you as well. I love having you in the house. Jennifer I see her YouTube videos on astrology. She's an amazing astrologer. She keeps us really grounded and keeps the magic going is with her sidekick, Freya. Maya, good to see you. Ali Shea, charging with positive vibes from this supportive group. Happy to be listening to Mark with the assistance of Jay, held up by the 1-2 tribe. Thank you. Laura, good morning. Julie, let's see. Glad to have the day off from work and be with you all. I am so glad you had the day off too, Julie. Welcome. Patricia, good to be here with you. Thanks for coming to the room. Pam, thank you. She says, I'm a bit late. Furnace went out. The best sign to fix it today. What's the best sign to fix it today? That would be an interesting service request. Oh, to like make the appointment to have it come out? Interesting question, Furnace. Let's see. It's the bowels of the house, maybe. Pluto going direct might not hurt. Mars going into Scorpio might not hurt. I think you're in good shape this week to pick it and just get warm. Hey, Jay, thanks for being here. Thanks for posting. Thanks for holding the space for the room. Truly so true about Leo love and caring. I totally relate with getting addicted, but realizing quickly it was just a gift for the moment. It's so important, you guys. When we get these, and I think of that with Gemini, I think of that with, well, it's just a good rule of thumb. There's a moment that is so addicting and so wonderful and it feels so good. Let it go quickly. Move on. Savor it, feel it, take it in, then drop every expectation you ever had. It's just good with all the signs. Just do it. Just enjoy that moment, but release, like the next day when they're creepy to you or when they're all about themselves and they forget the love that they handed out. It doesn't hurt as much. Karen Erickson, good to see you, Virgo girl. Let's see. Good morning. Lady Gaga said social media is the toilet of the internet. Yeah, you know, that woman is so smart. Interesting perspective. Mine is Scorpio rising, Pluto in the 10th. Okay, so the ruler of your chart is Pluto. Yeah, I have Pluto in the 10th as well, Denise. It's very important to pay attention to that because it will affect you. And when planets hit that point, it's also very powerful. So see, it's good to have an understanding of our charts. Now, it's so funny. I don't know why Chiron is coming into consciousness again. I think because Liz Green came out with a book called Chiron in Love, the astrology of envy, rage, compassion, and wisdom. The woman doesn't do anything superficial. Nothing, I promise you. So let's see here. I wanted to, so Magi, the Magi book, the Magi in Love and Money, I got to tell you what they say about Chiron. Now, you know, Liz Green is like, everybody's like doing the woo-woo around Chiron, but let me tell you, she's like, Chiron was no wimp and it wasn't about being wounded where his strength was. So we're changing our consciousness about Chiron. What do you all think of that? So here's what the Magi says. Chiron is the planet that has rulership over emotional ties, marriages, weddings, the family, spouses, and children. It represents the target of a person's romantic and marital interest. So different, isn't it? Chiron has the rulership over promises and commitments of love, including engagements and marriage vows. It governs fertility and pregnancies, the act of giving birth to children in marriage. What does that mean? They're a little crude. I mean, they're a little prudish, I should say. Chiron, English isn't their first language, so you got to like sort this stuff through and quit being offended. Chiron rules the marital and romantic instinct and the desire of romance, as well as romance itself. It signifies karmic bonds and intuitive trust. Chiron has dominion over charisma and a person's public image and being noteworthy, and is deemed distinctive and distinguished in appearance. Chiron is ruler of your career and how you choose to make a living. You know, Robert Hand once said, if a planet rules everything, then it rules nothing. I mean, basically, what is there left if it rules everything? Like, what's the point? But the point with Magi, what I want you to understand is theirs is based on just studying millions of charts. And they came with this conclusion that every chart that had a long-lasting relationship to it, they had a Chiron connection. So that's where we just distill their information and we put it into, like, if you want a long-term relationship, if you have a Chiron connection, it's going to happen. If you don't have a Chiron connection, does that mean every single person without a Chiron connection can't have a long-term relationship? Absolutely ludicrous. But it is saying in their studies, they noticed when that happened, there's a trust, a kind of karmic bond when Chiron is connected to the person's personal planets in some way. And then you look up which ones were connected and why and blah, blah. Okay. Now, Liz has a whole nother thing about the wound. And Dennis Eldwell, I saved a place here for him. I just wanted to tell you this real quick because he's talking about when Chiron was discovered in 1977, the guy made incredible notes. Okay, so here's what he said. This guy Carter, who discovered Pluto, died before the next discovery to excite astrologers was made in late 1977. Chiron is now described as a captured comet. Although its relatively large size persuaded many it must just be an asteroid. The discovery created a flurry of astrological activity as the new body's significance was debated. But because the name Chiron had jumped straight out of Greek mythology, where he was chief of the centaurs, and since by now astrologers were familiar with Jung and the archetypes, the intellectual caution Carter had shown was nowhere to be seen. Thus, an ephemeris giving the position of the latest addition to the astrologer's armory was fronted by an essay by Tom Joseph entitled Chiron, Archetypal Image, Teacher and Healer. It dealt solely with the legends at the regrettable expense of actual observation. Now, he goes on to talk about the fact that we end up saying Chiron is the wounded healer. And he blames that summary on the fact of what he calls the feminization of astrology. Now, before you get your shackles up, he's talking about where astrology started going into feelings, which is great. I want it to. Where it went into the personal experience is related in the chart. And so we lost the fact that Chiron was kind of a jerk. And we'll talk about that as I study more with Liz Green. But it wasn't about his wound that we focus on. It was about, why the wound was there and how he coped with it as a centaur. And there's tons of books about it, believe it or not. So what I want you to understand is, according to him, now we're going to get into Liz Green soon about Chiron as this evolution. It'll take weeks. We'll get into this stuff like we did with the parents. We'll come back and forth. He's saying Chiron is the thing that makes a baby want to walk, want to crawl. Like that thing where, like, it's not enough just to be here. I want to move. And then it's not enough just to move. I want to move fast. And it's not enough just to move fast. I want to climb something. And it's not enough just to climb something. I want to climb a mountain. And I don't want to just climb a mountain. I want to jump off that mountain. So it's things like that he's saying Chiron is pushing us to do. It's that ever more. And you can see where that might relate to war. You might see where that relates to divorce. You might see where that might relate to marriage. Like this push in us to not get stuck and to take on things that we, against all odds, may fail at and might get hurt doing. And if you look at the transits in people's charts, it's kind of funny. You can see, like, what instead of like, I grew up with this pain deep inside of me, which we have, there's no question. It's also the thing that keeps me moving forward so I can either stretch that pain to a different area or not feel it anymore. So if you look at where Chiron is in your own chart, and we all have a Chiron, you might see where the theme of that sign is what pushes you. Okay, is what is and let's look at the themes. Aries is that sort of competitor to be the first. If you have Chiron in Aries, do you kind of find yourself pushing to be first? In Taurus, Chiron in Taurus, it's the to own, to have, to be. So again, if one planet does everything, what's the point in having any planets, right? It's not about the same as the sun sign. It's that using it to push yourself beyond what the sun sign would do. And we have, and we'll take, I'll hear from you guys on it, because you're the best voice for looking at your own Chirons and seeing if you notice anything like that. Jennifer says that Chiron, the wounded healer, has always seemed like a romanticized notion for me. Oh my God, I love that, Jennifer. Yes. Isn't that true? I got to bring you on, Jennifer. We need to have chats live, because I miss your voice on the air, and I know I'm not the only one. But it would be fun to just talk about things like that, and we'll plan something. I mean that, really. Hi, Michelle. Welcome to the room. Anita, so grateful today is a holiday and I can listen to Mark live. Yay, Anita. So yes, the wounded healer just seems so like, okay, somebody got a book. Now, what's interesting, I'm pretty sure the woman, I could be completely wrong. No, I'm not wrong. I know I'm not. The woman who wrote the Chiron Wounded Healer book is Robert Hand's wife, the man who got so mad. What I just read, Robert Hand, who got so mad at the article about Chiron being everything to everybody. And so his wife, Barbara Hand Clow, right, it's coming to me, wrote a book called Chiron the Wounded Healer. And everybody was so hungry and she was so brilliant to be able to bring it in to that. And she's not wrong. It's not like what she's saying is wrong. It's just that we do that thing where what do? We shrink everything to its, oh my gosh, like the fast food lane. We get everything fast food. It's like, oh, that's your wound. You're carrying that wound. It's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, that's a great, somebody's going to find a wound in that. But what if it wasn't just your wound? It was a pushing off point. What if it's what you need to do in your life to push toward something that people could hate you for, that you might not be popular for, but you must do it? What if that's in that little key looking planet or comet? What did he call it? A contained comet? So let's do some more research. I got the Liz Green book. I'm going to start doing some reading on that. And so imagine that you can use it in a combination chart with somebody else and see if they have a Chiron connection, and take the more superficial moment of the Magi thing about transits and say, oh, okay, this is a good hook. It's a good hook. See, they're saying what they see, like it's people that have that Chiron connection, especially if it's Sun Chiron or Chiron Venus or Chiron with one of the sexual planets, that you got it. You have lifelong da-da-da. Well, they're seeing the effect. But to go into the why, the cause, to go into the understanding that one person's wound connecting to somebody else's sun is why there's trust in there, or etc. They're doing the superficial version, which is fine. They're doing the effect, the affect. This is what happens. This is what we noticed. They don't care why. But the psychologists among you and us and the Liz Greens of the world and the Carl Jungs of the world, they want to know the why. What is this doing? So Liz dives into the true part of Chiron that was not necessarily walking around wasn't identifying with his wound at all. It was more why he got the wound, like what we just talked about, like this assertion to do more under Chiron. So we want to hold Chiron, like, let's learn about Chiron. Let's learn together. I hope this show is about is what other people's experiences are, what your experiences are. And it's hard because you have 10 planets you're working with and Chiron, and to sort of separate it out. And that's what I'm going to help us do, is we'll get it whittled down so it doesn't represent everything. It doesn't sound like Sun in Taurus. It sounds like the wound in Taurus, okay? But it sounds like the wound that pushes you forward in Taurus, okay? That kind of thing. And that's what I'm shooting for. And one of the ways you find it is by other planets hitting it in your chart, right? And that's the beauty of transits. Now, they may hit it by an angle like being 90 degrees away or 45 degrees away or opposite 180 degrees away. They may hit that Chiron different ways, but there's going to be a moment, whether it's your Chiron return, anything. Now, I know I just had a Chiron return. I guess it's a few years ago. I think it's when you're late 50s, you have the Chiron return. But I'll get all that as fact for you. But I remember the deeper wound of that was this feeling of aloneness. It wasn't being alone like AKA John. It was being alone in feeling I was really being misunderstood or invisible or taken for granted and so because I was used to seeing Chiron as identifying as the wound, I do remember feeling like the lone wolf. And it wasn't like pitying lone wolf. It was like it's when I made I know this, when I made a decision that I had to have family out of my life on all extended levels, out of my life, not because they're bad people. Because my wound, my push, my drive in Aquarius, Chiron in Aquarius, was to be understood, to have somebody that could see the world in just a similar way, a similar perspective, and they did not exist. It wasn't existing. And I remember that push, and it was, in fact, one of the best things I ever accomplished, I think, in my life, because I hear people now. And I want to make this clear. You don't get rid of family by not talking to them. That's not how you get rid of family. You get rid of family. It's an internal thing. You can't just walk away. It's in you. The whole thing is, we talked about the parental thing. We take on the sins of the parents. We take them on whether we know it or not. And I see it every day. My mom right here in me, my dad right here in me. I see the things I'm moving through that they passed on to me. Not to be malicious, unconscious. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to accomplish bringing consciousness to what I got from them, but I'm going to look, right? And that's why I'm studying parents. But when I said I have to end family things, I have to stop, I have to push back, it was because in me, I couldn't put a boundary up when in the presence of them or when talking to them. I had to find the part of me that knew wholeness and aliveness and no requirements. There was no inheritance to get. There's nothing, it was nothing. Everything's going to be divided by 3 when mom died. And it was like, blah, blah, blah. So it was nothing. I mean, I think we're the only group of the family who had millionaires living around us, and none of us, our family was sort of the pariah, which is perfect for my mythology. Right. So, and we didn't like each other, which was perfect for my mythology, perfect for the way our family was dysfunctional. And I kept telling my sisters, what do you expect? What do you expect with parents who fought every single day, who were one was drug addicted, one was removed? What do you expect our relationship to be? What fighting chance do we have? And we didn't. We really didn't. So many wounds and so much bullshit to sort through. So many disagreements and the hysteria and the rage. I mean, I remember once in this process asking one sister, how did you know that person's birthday on Facebook? When I go to that same page, it says information not available. And she got hysterical. Why are you pushing me to the wall? Why? And so anyway, here's my point. I'm so grateful. I really am so grateful. My point is, I talked to a friend the other day and he's like, we're going to do an intervention. Me and my brother are going to get together and we're going to intervene on this other brother to help him, to stop him from ruining his marriage. And I laughed because I'm usually so supportive, no, that's great. It's so nice that you are doing that. And he was like, what? And I go, I am so grateful from out here looking at now family, because it's been, so many years. I feel like I'm so removed, it's a little distant. But how offensive it is to me to think that somebody would invade my life with an intervention on a choice I'm making in my own marriage. I would hate you. And I'm just grateful that I don't ever have to confront that. And it was a revelation for him because, he never thought that he would hear that from me, number one. And number two, it was a revelation for me because it was like, oh my God, I was kind of blown away that, I felt that from my heart, like what an intrusion. And I'm so glad because I think 10 years ago, it would have been like, of course, family's going to intrude. That's what they do. But now it's like, how dare you even think of me? I don't care I don't want your opinion. I'll ask for it. I have no respect I don't want an opinion I don't respect, and just don't offer it for free. I don't care. So anyway, just to say this whole evolution thing, the womb thing is so important that it's not just a behavior you take, or it's not just understanding, oh, look, I have Chiron in Gemini and I've been wounded by words. It's not any of that. It's taking it long enough, deep enough, strident enough to look and say, what is the wound of Gemini? Like, what is their wound? And then how might I have used that in my life to push myself forward? The wound of Gemini typically is the wound of the twins that could never touch, have the emotional body separated from the mental body. And so when you get Chiron there, it's sort of like how that mythology becomes so vital to your motivation forward. So important. And imagine if we could do that with every single planet, like really dissect the metaphor of it, which is there for us to do. And we have all the time in the world, right? Every Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific, we can do that. And I'm going to try to do that. And you do it too. Bring questions and we'll try to uncover it. I'm picking Chiron because that seems to be the zeitgeist. That seems to be the thing that's happening. People are kind of like, all these books coming to my awareness about Chiron. Let's figure it out, right? I'm ready. So let's see how you guys are doing. And we're going to talk about this new moon again real quick because I want you to understand the power of it. Adara identifies with, Adara, she identifies with the lone wolf archetype. My memory of you is that I agree with you 100%. That feeling of like, where do I fit? And then finding that you have your own drum, your own rhythm, your own appetite was amazing. And so I remember that about you fully, and I really get what you're saying, that you identify with the lone wolf. Lynn, thank you so much for appreciating the Chiron class. Yours is Aquarius, mine's Aquarius. Yay. And I do see, it would be so fun to see if the Aquarian themes, if people with the similar Chirons experience life in a similar way. I want to dive, so I don't confuse anybody listening with any other planet in Aquarius. I want to take Chiron and understand it from a deep, even deeper place. Like, what makes it different than a moon in Aquarius, where they feel, they just feel different, and they need to be different, and they need to feel the rebellion, or have an ego that's like way more than the Leo moon ego kind of thing. It's sort of what's different about Chiron in Aquarius. And that's what I'm going to help us sort out. And now as I'm talking out loud, I think my goal is going to be, let's sort out every planet. Let's make it very specifically what this planet does different than this planet, and take our deep dive into the planets so that we now aren't confusing saying the same thing for every planet. Like a Mars in Aquarius, you're a rebel. Sun in Aquarius, you're a rebel. Moon in Aquarius, you're like, right? So we want to make sure what is the difference, and we got to get these charts because they are meaning something. They're there for a reason, right? I believe that. I want you guys to believe that. So let's see. So Geraldine is asking, if I'm an Aries and Chiron is in Aries, does that mean it will help me push myself more as a being? Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Wait a minute. To help me push myself more as opposed to healing. No, it's Geraldine. I think the push is part of the healing. I think that the need to push, the need to climb that rock, once you've learned how to climb on a bike and then you want to climb on a rock, and creating relationships and creating events that require you to push. And that's what you have to look. Was I always feel like, I know Aries love the challenge, but sometimes that Chiron might imply the challenge was pushed on us. Okay. I know unconsciously Aries have challenges pushed on them. And that's what I'm trying to distinguish. An Aries sun kind of looks for it, but the Chiron in Aries, it's like they got hurt by it. And then they used it to continue to overcome it. And that's what we want to uncover. And I am going to get to the bottom of it with all of you, like get very clear with every sign what Chiron does. So my new Chiron class, which I'll do here with you, is going to have this new information, this new wisdom that I'm reading, that I don't have naturally, honestly, but that I'm reading. And it sort of is so helpful because I want to know. I don't want to just talk another game of, it's another form of saying Aries love a challenge. I want to know what Chiron and Aries mean. So I'll bring it to you. But I think your question is brilliant. And I'm glad you're questioning it because I think that's the only way we learn. Like, so what's the difference between having an Aries sun and the Chiron in Aries? And was I hurt for being in Aries? Pamela, my Chiron is Aquarius. Oh, good, Pam. You have a Chiron in Aquarius too. So we'll have the Chiron in Aquarius Club. We'll get to see if what we're learning makes sense. Ali Shea has it in the 8th. Natal chart 8th is Capricorn. So Chiron and Capricorn in the 8th. So a lot of times though, it will be interesting to see the house, how that pushed us, like the natural therapist, the having to understand things from such a deeper level. And did that cause pain? And were you forced to understand things on that deeper level as a survival tool? And then you kept using it as a survival tool and just got better and better at it. So we want to find out. And that's what we're going to find out. 3 minutes left, you guys. Listen, this is a weird week for 1-2-Listen, where my lovely advisors are. It's weird because we usually try to get a midday sale in there and we try to get, an end of the week sale. But we have 1-2 day. The 12th is Thursday. So the first big sale starts at midnight, East Coast, Wednesday, let's say. So it's Wednesday at midnight 01. And it'll last for 24 hours where random rates just show up for the advisors at some of the lowest ones you'll see, and some of the never the normal rate. It's all on sale. So you'll see some of the lowest rates on Thursday. Between now and then, they're going to be there 24/7. There's a sale today, a minor sale today for Indigenous Peoples Day. And then they're going to be there to answer questions, to hold the space for you this whole week. So they're there. That's what it's for. It's the original talk therapy, right? Only it's using people that we chose for their gifts to help. Okay, so that's happening this week. That's Thursday. I told you Kelly McLean is helping us organize a horror special Halloween horror fest, and it's not the scary kind of it's fun. CA and I think we're going to delve into the Hitchcockian era and from an astrological perspective, things like that, right? Doesn't that sound fun? I think there's going to be a seance. I think there's going to be talking to stories. So we're going to put it together. I'll announce it, probably play it out on a Friday live. I hope you'll join us. We'll try to do that before Halloween gets here, which it'll be tomorrow, by the way, time feels. Christina LaFrance is here right after me, and Lori Love is after her. I hope you'll stay tuned and get the app, 12radio.com app. And also, please remember the gratitude board. Go to the gratitude board at 12listen.com. It's anonymous. It does feel really good. And I'm talking to my staff about holding intention over everything they read there at the gratitude board. You guys are amazing. I'm so grateful that you're in my life. This is Mark Husson. This is the Mark Husson Astrology Hour. Please stay tuned for another great show with Christina LaFrance, and I will be back this time next week. In the meantime, happy new moon, 21 degrees of Libra. Find it in your chart. hold the space for just see what happens. Just hold that intent. That's Saturday, right? Pluto goes direct tomorrow. Mars enters Scorpio the day after. It's a crazy week, right? So hold your breath, but don't hold it too tight. I'm here. Reach out if you need anything. Thank you so much for being a part of my life. I appreciate you. Bye now.